All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam, this is CrawlerTrax, and in today's video, we're taking a look at this guy right here. It's been a hot minute since we've been here, so sit back, relax, grab a do, and enjoy today's video.
The trail is cold, a story waiting to be told. Lesser trucks have turned and fled, left their metal bones for dead. But down the grade, a shadow falls, answering nature's taunting calls. A low gear grind, a steady crawl, ready to conquer, stand up tall. 8 wheels turning on the line.
As you guys probably already know, because you've seen it online, HobbyPlus just dropped their latest rig. Let me be the first to introduce you to the Terranaut. The Terranaut is, speechless. I think there's thunder outside. Anyway, this is the brand new release from HobbyPlus. It's called the Terranaut. It's an 8x8 AWS. They call it an active AWS. And what does AWS stand for? All-wheel steer, baby. So, as you can tell, there's nothing in this box. I personally haven't been this excited since the release of the Arctos. The Arctos was super cool, one of my favorite rigs to run, but this thing is next level, especially for an 18 scale. I was blown away when HobbyPlus released the Arctos. The Arctos was one of my dream rigs. It was a 6x6. It could haul things. I mean, it's right up my alley. If y'all didn't know, I'm a sucker for 6x6s. I've always loved a good 6x6. But now we have an 8x8. HobbyPlus, again, has knocked it out of the park with the Terranaut. This thing is just jam-packed with features that you're gonna love. And today, we're gonna take a look at it. If any of you have watched this channel, you know I'm also a sucker for scale realism. And this thing has just about all the scale realism you could ask for in a ready to run. Let's dive in and take a closer look at what's going on with the HobbyPlus Terranaut. In today's video, we're gonna cover all the basics, and I'm gonna let you know how this thing's done for the past 2.5 weeks. As you guys can probably already tell, I've already opened this and I've put some miles on it for sure. I've tried to really put this rig through the ringer and test every aspect of this rig. I've been running it for about 2.5, 3 weeks, and it continues to blow my mind. So that being said, let's set the rig aside and just quickly show you the outside of the box. As you can see, mine got a little damaged in shipping, but the rig arrived okay. It's actually really nice packaging. If you want to look at anything specific on the packaging, you can go ahead and pause the video and take a look at the different sides and some of the specifications. We're going to cover some of those specifications. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on the features because I know there's going to be 100 other videos out there. Maybe not 100. There's going to be some other videos out there about the Terranaut. If you go over to our friend Ken at the Shop Mini RC, I'm sure he's going to tear this thing apart, literally, and go through every aspect of it. So no need for me to go through all the specifications 100%. Ken will do that. Head over to the Shop Mini RC and you can watch his video. So that's the packaging, pretty nice packaging. Also in the box included is your manual. You've got a USB charger, a T-wrench, and I didn't notice this until the filming of this video, and I've been running this thing for 2.5, 3 weeks, like I said, but this comes with sway bars, just like the Arctos. So I'm gonna put those on and see if there's any difference. So I think that's cool. Honestly, I haven't had a problem with the rig tipping over. I don't think I've ever tipped it over in the 2.5 weeks I've been running it, but I'm gonna put the sway bar links on. I didn't realize that it came with those, so that's cool. Here's your transmitter. It's a FlySky transmitter. It's a 6-channel. We're gonna go into a little bit more detail about the functions of this transmitter and what each one of these buttons does. So, but we'll cover that in just a bit. Now, enter Terranaut. Let's talk about the exterior features for a second. This thing is highly detailed. In fact, HobbyPlus calls it extreme scale detail. This rig is absolutely beautiful. The exterior is so detailed, they haven't left anything out. There's a couple things I wish they would have done, but for the most part, I couldn't have asked for a more scale rig, being a scale guy. First of all, let's start with the color. I got the gray one. I was able to choose. The guys over at HobbyPlus were super nice and let me choose what color I wanted, and I was able to pick the gray. There is a green as well. I wanted the gray instead of going with a more of an Army look and feel. I thought with gray I could go with more of an Air Force. If you don't know, Air Force a lot of the time has gray vehicles and Army has the green vehicles. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but that's what I have in my head. So whether I'm imagining it or not, I don't know. So if you know better, all you veterans out there or something, leave a comment down below. That's the way I like to think of it anyway. Moving on. Scale detail on this rig is absolutely amazing. Let's go over some of the scale details, starting with the cab of the truck. As you can see, you've got headlights up here. You've got some places for some D-rings, which are super cool. You've actually got fog lights down here, or driving lights, whichever you call them. There is a color difference between the headlight and the fog light, which is a little bit weird in my opinion, but it still looks pretty cool. Windshield wipers, clear cab windows so you can see in there, and there's a good reason for that. We'll cover that in a minute. Mirrors are just like the Arctos. They're the same shape and they're flexible, so you're not going to break them off, which is super cool, and I love that they fold in as well. I love that HobbyPlus is conscious about, on these bigger rigs, when you tip over, that we're not breaking stuff like the mirrors off. You'll notice we got lights, amber lights on top, and those are functional. We'll show you those in a minute. On the rig, you'll notice we have an access hatch. Those are non-functioning, but they're there for scale realism. I love all the little nicks and doodads, I guess if you call it, on this rig. You've got a vent here for the motor. It says caution hot there, all the scale stickers. You've also got the sticker here, and I love this sticker. I just wish they would have found another place to put it, because I really want to put a star on the door there. I may try to pull it off and put it somewhere else on the rig, because I really like this sticker. You've got vents for the engine here. You've got vents on the side that say caution hot, vents that would, on a real scale 1-to-1 rig, would pull the heat out of the engine. Moving to the bed, you've got 2 full-size spares that are actually functioning, so you can pull them off. Here you've got your cooling system for your motor, all the scale detail. Moving back towards the winch, yes, this has a working winch, just like the Arctos. You've got the winch box, the actual winch. The winch box actually hides the servo. Moving back to the hitch here, it's a semi-trailer hitch. It's kind of like a 5th-wheel hitch, but it's for semi-trailers. This thing actually works. You have a little lever here you can pull back, and once your trailer hits it, it'll slide in like that, and then you pull it back to prepare it for the next trailer to be hooked up or hitched up. Moving back towards the back, you got these sliders for the trailer to come up and latch into the hitch. Full scale 1-to-1 trailers have this slider on a lot of trucks, and it really does help. And it's a kind of a cool little touch. Around the back, you'll notice that the winch cable goes underneath the hitch and exits on the rear bumper. This is a metal hook for the winch, and then on the rear bumper you've also got some places for some shackles and then some working tail lights. Let's talk about wheels and tires really quickly. The wheels, they are absolutely phenomenal. Check these guys out. I think the looks of these are awesome. They're not your typical HobbyPlus wheel. They are something new. And I love that they say Terranaut on them. And I love that they say Terranaut MT wheel, which is really cool. These are beadlock, by the way. and the beadlock on the internal side, on the internal of the truck, or the inside of the truck, and that's pretty cool. These tires are, these are your standard HobbyPlus tire tread pattern, and they are 60s by 24.5s by 1.2s. So it's a 1.2 inch wheel, and they're pretty soft. They've got foams in there. They're just like your standard HobbyPlus tires. They grip decent, but I can see people maybe dueling this out or putting different tires on there. That would be pretty sweet, but they are 1.2s. A couple things I forgot on the body. Check out that gas tank with the guard to protect it. That is so cool. And on the flip side of the rig, you got a air tank for your air brakes. I think that scale detail is absolutely epic. Moving on to some of the other features of the truck. Let's show you this light kit. The light kit on this rig is just as good as the Arctos. In fact, it's better. And there's one reason I think it's better than the Arctos. So quickly, to get in to access the battery, at first, and I'm not a manual reader, I just like to figure things out. Right in here, there's a little sliding spring-loaded thing, mechanism. And I thought, oh, I have to reach up under there and do that. It wasn't until I had been running this thing for about a week that I noticed on this side of the rig, there's a little button right there. You push the button and the cab, just like any standard cab over, tilts forward. Isn't that cool? Inside, you've got your battery, you got your electronics. We're going to talk about all that, but I want to show you right now the light kit. Let's plug this guy in. And by the way, when you're shutting the cab, I haven't been able just to slam it shut. I've always had to push this button. So I don't want to break it, but if you've had a different experience, leave me a comment down below. Push the button, cab locks in. Okay, let's show you this light kit. I love these lights. They are my favorite. First and foremost, your first mode, you've got just your regular driving lights with no turn signals. Okay. Second, you've got regular driving lights or regular headlights with turn signals. Third light mode, which I haven't figured out what's different about the third light mode. Oh, because when you push the third light mode, nothing changes that I can see. So if you guys know what the third light mode does, drop a comment down below. Fourth light mode. Oh, by the way, on third light mode, there are no turn signals. Fourth light mode, and my favorite. And this guy right here is why I like this light kit more than the Arctos. Now, these flashing or rotating amber lights, I don't know if you guys can see that, but they are totally epic. It just brings all the scale realism to this rig. I've been talking to the guys over at HobbyPlus, and they've given me a little bit of insider information, and I'm going to pass it along to you guys. This light kit will be available on its own for sale. Not sure when, but you can order this from HobbyPlus, and that means if you can order the light kit by itself, that means you can install it on the Arctos, which I am so excited for. The last scale detail I want to show you to deal with the lights is, oh, by the way, the last mode on the lights is your hazards. So you've got your flashing lights on top with no hazards, and then flashing lights on top with hazards. The last scale detail I want to show you, I'm going to come around here to the camera because it's going to take a sec to show you this. Move this mirror out. If you look right in here, look at that. That is a lit up dash. So cool that they've included that scale feature. Dash lights on the Arctos actually work, which is super cool. Yep, that's right. You've got a dash light that lights up the gauges on the dash. Super cool scale detail that HobbyPlus did, and that's the kind of company that HobbyPlus is, and that's why I love HobbyPlus. One of my favorites because of those attention to detail things they do. I'm a graphic designer by trade. I have to have that attention to detail in my job, in my profession, and HobbyPlus knocked it out of the park with that one. I love it. Now, let's talk about some other features here really quick. This thing, oh man, I can't wait to show you the rest of the features. Let's get to it. So the last mode, obviously, with the lights is off. Okay, let's move on to some of the functional features of the Terranaut. I hope I haven't been calling this the Arctos. It's the Terranaut. Let's talk about what HobbyPlus is calling the active AWS. That's active all-wheel steer. You've got your front two tires that actually steer left and right, just like normal on your transmitter. Fully proportional, like we expect with any hobby grade rig. But you also have the back tires on this little knob right here, which is fully proportional as well. How cool is that? Auto centering as well. So not only can you turn with the back, but you can crab walk. You can do really, really sharp turns. This thing will turn on a dime, and that is a really cool feature. Now, my only complaint with that rear wheel steer switch being right here is on the Arctos, this is the winch in and out. So winch in, winch out, or whatever it is. And the winch on the Terranaut is controlled by a push button. It's 4 pushes. The winch is a little bit, it's a little bit sore spot for me, and not for one reason, and one reason only. With your transmitter, you've got your front wheel steer, which is the front 2 axles. They turn at the same time. This little switch on the Arctos that usually works the winch is your rear steer, fully proportional, auto centering. And I'll show you that in some of the run footage. You just let it go and it centers. Let's see if I can do it on camera. Turn, auto centers. So they didn't have really an option to put the winch on the same switch or dial or whatever you call it as the Arctos. They put it on a button, which is a sore spot for me because if you forget to turn it off, you may burn up your winch servo. Let me show you. This button right here, you push it and the winch comes out. You can see it coming out right here. Right? Push it again and it stops. And this is where I'm talking about it not being turned off or forgetting to turn it off. Push it again. And yes, it will pull the weight of the truck. Isn't that cool? Slow going, but it pulls it. That's pretty amazing. That's a pretty strong servo. But the problem with it is, now that my rig stopped spinning, is if I forget to turn it off when it reaches its endpoint, that servo is going to be on and it's going to be constantly pulling on that chain, and there's potential for that to burn up your servo. That's the only complaint I have with this winch setup. It just needs to be, when you release it, it turns itself off. It really does. I guarantee there's going to be people burning up that servo, and you know, it's not a game changer, but if you had a 9-channel transmitter or an 8-channel transmitter, you could definitely fix that. But it's one of my sticking points. There's not many. There's only a couple, I think, at least that I've found over the past 2 weeks. But oh, wait. Let me show you guys. Hold on. Little bit dusty. But I have this trailer from a WPL Toys. WPL Toys? WPL. I think it's WPL Toys. One of their semi-trucks. And this thing, as you'll see, actually works with the Terranaut. The only thing that would make it better is if this or the hitch on the Terranaut was a little bit further. This rubs on the bumper. The bumper rubs right here. Just a little bit, and sometimes it gets hung up because there's a couple grooves right here. But for the most part, and most of what you're doing, this trailer works just fine. And it has been an absolute blast to pull stuff around. We'll show you some run footage here in a minute, but I tell you what, I was most excited when I learned about the Terranaut and I was going to have a semi-truck receiver hitch or whatever they're calling this. I'll look it up. I was so excited for it. So what you do on the Terranaut, I can turn these lights off so they're not annoying. They're not annoying, they're cool. Pull out the little pin, just like a real semi, it locks out, and then your trailer will slide up there when you back up to it. And as long as your hitch is in the right position, it has to be down in the back. When this slides up here, like that, it locks into place. How cool is that? Now, as you can see, that bumper is incredibly close. And on occasion, when you're articulated at all, it will hang up. There's a way for me to move the hitch back on the Terranaut a little bit. I'm going to try to do that because it'll give this trailer just a little bit more space. By the way, all these products you see in the video today, I'll have links to in the description below. We'll put links to everything you see on today's episode in the description below, where you can pick up your Arctos, your Terranaut, and your trailer from WPL. Unfortunately, with WPL, you have to purchase the whole semi-rig, the whole tractor, trailer, vehicle. You can't just purchase. I've looked. You can't just purchase the trailer by itself. I wish you could, because I actually broke the ramps on this trailer and I couldn't find just the replacement part or the trailer itself. I didn't spend a ton of time looking, but I'm pretty sure you can't buy the trailer by itself. Let's move to the underside of this rig. First and foremost, you'll notice that black anodized aluminum chassis with the machined edges. That thing is sharp looking. It's also got the HobbyPlus logo engraved on it up front, just like the Arctos and just like pretty much every other HobbyPlus rig out there. The next thing you'll notice is the oil-filled, big bore oil-filled shocks. They've got red anodized aluminum caps and they are buttery smooth. I love it. Also, they do feel a little bit stiffer than most of the other shocks. I haven't tested the shocks on the Arctos, but they feel a little bit stiffer, and I'm sure that's because of the weight you're going to be hauling when you're trailering. Underneath, you have 4 axles and 8-wheel drive. You also have 8-wheel steer. If you watch our friend Ken over at the Shop Mini RC, he has an 8x8 and he calls it something like a 4x8x8x6x4x2x3.5. I don't know what he calls it, but that's what this system is. It's a 2 axles in the front, 2 axles in the back, all are driven, so it's 8-wheel drive, and it has 8-wheel steer, independent. And we already talked about that, but let me show you what that looks like. Now I can do it both. Crab walk one way, crab walk the other way, or super sharp turn, or super sharp turn. I love that system. Underneath the front axle or front driveline, you can see the motor. Okay, so they call it a big block 280 sized brushed motor. So it's a pretty big, good, pretty decent sized motor there. There is one thing I wish the motor, it sometimes feels a little bit underpowered, although it's probably not, but with the 8-wheel drive and the 8-wheel steer, if you're on a concrete surface or like a hardwood floor, it does struggle a little bit with the motor. But should be plenty of power for whatever you want to do. It just, I noticed a little bit of a strugglage, strugglage, is that a word? Out of the motor. Next, the gear ratio in this thing. It is a 124:1 gear ratio in first gear. So in the slow crawl gear, you've got a 124:1. And let me show you what that looks like. Put it in slow gear. By the way, you have 2-speed transmission on this guy. So let me put it in the slow gear, put it back here. You can kind of see our modulation here. It does have portal axles, so you do have a little bit of slop in the drivetrain. Not horrible, but it's typical with portal axles. Let's take a look at that modulation one more time. Not too bad for a brushed motor. And obviously with brushed, when you come up against an obstacle, you have to give it a little bit more juice, but not too shabby. All right, next up, let's talk about the battery. Going under the hood with that little button again, we've got 1100 milliamp battery. It's a 7.4 2-cell. It's a decent sized battery. I get some pretty good runtime out of this. I've been driving it hard, so I haven't had any issues with the battery. The battery's great. Underneath here, you've got your 2-in-1 receiver ESC, and over here actually is your servo extensions to get to those rear servos. So you've actually got 2 or more servo extensions to go to all the servos on axles. So that's pretty cool. I love that you've got lots of space in here to work with. I'm thinking about adding a sound kit to mine. I think that would be really cool to have a fully functional sound kit. Next up, we talked about the 2-speed transmission. To access that 2-speed transmission on your remote is channel 6, and it's this 3-position switch right here. So low speed, neutral, so you can rev your engine, and then high speed is there. Let's talk drivetrain on the Terranaut for just a minute. Underneath here, you've got an all-metal drivetrain, or what they're calling an all-metal drivetrain. So that means you've got metal transmission gears as well as metal gears in the axles, plastic drive lines all the way back. But you've got counter-rotating front and rear axles, so you don't get that torque twist. Yeah, pretty amazing. Oh, by the way, the servos that are on each axle are metal gear servos. So you shouldn't have to worry about burning up any of those servos. They do not have servo savers on them, but they're all metal gear and they look about like they're 9-gram servos. They do say on their spec sheet, these are water resistant electronics. So not waterproof, but water resistant. So you're able to get a little bit of wet, a little bit of splash on it, I guess. And it is worth noting that this has the CR-18P Evo drivetrain. Same axles, same transmission, same drive lines, the works. All right, guys, let's compare the Terranaut with the Arctos. There's bumper to bumper, as you can see. Arctos is here, Terranaut's there. Bumper to bumper, the Terranaut is about that much longer. I don't know how much that is, maybe 2 inches longer. But, funny, check this out, guys. The Arctos bed deck is about a ½ inch taller than the Terranaut's bed deck. I wonder how it looks from the front. Those are two mean-looking machines. The Arctos, or the Terranaut's cab, sits a little bit higher than the Arctos cab. That's so cool to see them side by side. Anyway, now that I've walked you through the overview of the Terranaut, I keep wanting to call it the Arctos. Now that I walked you through the overview of the Terranaut, let's show you that beautiful run footage. Let's go.
Sun is a single bare bulb shining on a landscape of sawdust and mud. Got a job site smaller than a 2-car garage, but the workload's a heavy-duty Mirage. Just a foot of plastic, wire and steel, but the heart of this rig is 100% real. They send me the jobs that nobody wants, the back break and labor, the grunts and the taunts. Yeah, the Terranaut's humming the batteries. I'm gonna give the small world everything that I got, pulling broke down rigs from the dirt and the ground, doing 10-ton work on a 10-cent dime, from a trailer of gravel to a track hose dead weight. This little truck's rolling, I won't hesitate. The big boys are laughing from up on the shelf, but down in the dirt I rely on myself. The servo is winding, the tires dig in, a battle with physics I'm destined to win. Got a scale model flatbed hooked up to the hitch, a busted rock crawler stuck dead in a ditch. They call for the muscle, the one they can trust, the one that leaves giants behind in the dust. Yeah, the Terranaut's humming the batteries. I'm gonna give this small world everything that I got, pulling broke down rigs from the dirt and the ground, doing 10-ton work on a 10-cent dime, from a trailer of gravel to a track hose dead weight. This little truck's rolling, I won't hesitate. Just the low, steady whine of electric soul. I might not be diesel, I might not be chrome, but on this construction site I bring it all home. Inch by inch the impossible moves, got nothing but torque and a whole lot to prove. Yeah, pulling that weight, I won't hesitate. The track hole moves slow, yeah, it's time to go. Terranaut's tough.
Well, that was awesome. This thing is absolutely amazing. Thanks for joining me, guys, as we've explored the Terranaut. This is HobbyPlus's new release, and it's one heck of a machine, guys. I promise, the $260 price tag, I think that's right, is well worth it. You guys are gonna love it. Once again, we'll have links to all this stuff in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Hit that notification bell. Do all those things that show the algorithm that we're worth watching. You know what to do, guys, and we'll see you on the trail.